Today we are going to discuss about an international local brew which started off like a joke and it became international, especially in the African sense of the story. Growing up, there used to be CHIBUKU in Kenya. I have never tasted it and it's too late because I no longer take alcohol. At first, it came in Tetra Pak containers and later on, I think when my uncle Peter Kuguru acquired it, they started taking it round in water boozer like vehicles. I have a feeling that both Chibuku and Umukomboti are like Kenyan busa. You know, nowadays, for you to buy cigarettes or even alcohol and take it home, you have to prove to the seller that you are over 18. During our time, we used to go to such places and buy. There is an old mzee, now deceased, called Zakayo Shivona Nakuku. This is the elder whom I spent the last night at his place before joining the police. Meaning, I woke up at his place as a civilian. And that evening I went to sleep in Kiganjo as a recruit. This old man, occasionally, he would send us to go and buy him chibuku. He used to send us to buy chibuku for him. Initially, it used to come in Tetra Pak, but later on, he would give you a jerry can to go and buy. I never used that opportunity to taste it, but the sons had a clever way. Between the Mudhurwa social and his house, they would take a bit of it, and then before reaching home, they would pass near a water tap and add some water. So those are the ones who told me that it tasted like busa. In Kenya, Moi found it. If Moi because of his religion, he was a strict religious elder, and also he had a problem with his home region where people had sold lands at a throwaway price. He really hated alcohol. If Moi had the power, he would have made Kenya a no alcohol country. But he managed in restraining some areas in Kenya whereby Kenyans in certain areas could not produce traditional alcohol. But when it came to Muratina, he could not do it because Kikuyu was a strong bastion politically. So he found it hard to stop the production of traditional alcohol in Kikuyu land, and even in urban areas you could find we still have drinking joints like Matiapa in Kawangware. So it became hard for Moi to ban intake of traditional alcohol in Kikuyu land and in urban areas which were heavily populated. But in other areas, and if Moi would have had power, he would even have banned even the intake of beer. But then Chibuku company was producing an alcohol which I've just said I've never tasted, but those who tasted told me it tasted more like busa. He could not do that because the company used to be owned by Londro company. Londro was a very powerful company in Kenya. Londro stood for London Rhodesia Company. So he could not ban them. and he could not ban the intake of traditional alcohol in Kikuyu land. That is why Moratina thrived. Now we'll start with how Chibuku started. There is a German fellow whose name was Heinrich. I don't know whether that is Henrik or anything, but I think it could be. Heinrich started a mass production of a local beer at Kitwe in Zambia. I can't recall the name of that alcohol in the traditional one, but you see, in that Kitwe region, there were mines there. So most of the mine employees, those who used to work in the mines, used to take the alcohol on credit. They used to take alcohol on credit. And so when they got their salaries, they would pay. They would pay. The debt used to be written in a book, a large book. So in that language, we have even some Bantu tribes where they call, like Kikuyus. Kikuyus called a book, they call it Ibuku, which comes from the word book. So in the local language there, a large book was called Chibuku. Chibuku comes from the word book. So your name could appear in the book. So that when you have completed your work at around 4 or 4:30, you would go to the club, drink alcohol, then your name is written in the book, in the Kibuku. Those who understand Swahili, maybe you'll understand it. A big, okay, kitabu kubwa, lakini if you want to make it a sheng, you'll say Kibuku, yani Kibuku, buku kubwa kabisa. So that is how it got a new name, where it started being called Kibuku, Chibuku, yani a large book. So that is how it is. Like in Kenya, I don't know about other East African countries, but in Kenya we have the drinking dens people. There are those ladies who sell alcohol, traditional alcohol. They are called Mama Pima. That is Mama Anaepima. She measures the alcohol for you. So the name Chibuku got its name from, we forgot about its original name. Just like Kel Skumawiki. We don't know how it used to be called in Kiswahili before, but since people used to take it the whole week while they're waiting for the salary, they call it Sukuma Wiki. So the alcohol got its name from a book, Chibuku. He was taught how to prepare the alcohol by local women. Local women, those who used to do that, they taught him how to prepare. The only difference he did is that he was a bit more, for you to have a mass production, you have to address issue of hygiene. You have to address issue of hygiene. So yeah, and also you see the ladies were preparing a few whatever, but he was mass production. So his was mass production, and there was a lot of emphasis on hygiene. It is fermented by sorghum malt and maize hops. His company developed both in Zambia and Zimbabwe, and later on was bought by Lonro Company. Lonro Company is the company that I've told you that the name Lonro comes from London, Rhodesia. We had a part of it in Kenya, which was called, or Kenya or East Africa, it used to be called Lonro East Africa. And they are very clever that they used to associate themselves with the people in power. That is why they even took somebody who was very powerful called Macto to be the vice chair there, so that he takes the interest of the local political power in Kenya. I understand that Chibuku is still sold in Tanzania. In Kenya, even though Moi didn't want traditional alcohol, Actually, Moi didn't want any alcohol due to the religious and land clashes in East Africa. I think I've said that. It was hard for him to turn down Lonro. Lonro was a very powerful body. The franchise in Kenya was later bought by my uncle, by my maternal uncle, Peter Kuguru, who renamed it Kibuku. He renamed it Kibuku because he had started a company called the Kuguru Food Complex Company. And you see, when he started it, Kuguru Food Complex, KFC, and then he added another C because the alphabet he had used sounded like Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's a bit hard for Kentucky to tell him not to use that, whatever, because he had been using it for a very long time. He saw it cheaper. You know, those days when Londro was using it, they used to package it in form of Tetra Pak. If you have seen the KCC Mala milk, the blue one, that is how they used to package. But then he came, in order to save on expenses, he distributed to all clubs that used to sell Kibuku. He gave them water tank, which are very large. So his lorries, which water tank, he would bring. He converted some water boozers into a Kibuku alcohol drink. So he would take it to a club, fill in there, so that you would go there with your jerrycan. You would go there with your water container and buy that one. And that is when I used to see young people, my age mates, would go. They say that they've been sent by their parents to buy the nini for them. Nowadays it's a bit hard. You cannot buy alcohol or even cigarettes if you are under 18. That is why nowadays they put on that not for sale for anybody under 18. And that is how it is, the story about Chibuku, which in Kenya it later became to be known as Kibuku. Have a nice time. Watch out for more informative historical items on this channel. Thank you.